Hey everybody, Nate Christian back with you again to talk about some more prospects for this upcoming NFL draft, players who you want on your dynasty teams. So this week we got a wide receiver who came into the 2020 college football season as one of the top choices to be the wide receiver one in this class. An injury unfortunately derailed his season a little early, but there's plenty of tape to show just how elite of a prospect this guy is. And this guy I'm talking about today, he is probably a name you've heard before. Over at Alabama with Devonta Smith, it's Jalen Waddle, a player who, we hear a lot of players comped to Tyreek Hill. Heard it last year with Henry Ruggs. There's a couple other players we hear every year. Oh, this is the next Tyreek Hill. It's usually not. Tyreek Hill is such a special player. Jalen Waddle, it's actually the closest thing that we have to Tyreek Hill. So, yeah, that definitely caught your attention. You're excited now. How can I get the next Tyreek Hill on my team? So, Jalen Waddle, in 4 games this season that he was healthy, he had 557 yards, 4 touchdowns on 25 catches. That's a 21.1 yards per catch average. And that is just absurd, especially playing in the SEC. Yes, Alabama is full of talent, but you have to be talented to put up those kind of numbers. In his 5th game, he was hurt, bad ankle injury, similar to Dak Prescott's, on a return and missed the rest of the season. But came back from the national championship, obviously hobbled, didn't look fully healthy out there, but just the fact that he was able to get back on the field is a huge boost of confidence for NFL teams, knowing that he has this work ethic and ability to recover quicker than most players. That shows a lot of effort, and people who may have put off him, farther down their boards because of this injury, being able to see him back on the field really gives him a boost of confidence, and I don't think many people are going to be upset about the injury or worried about the injury. Though that's definitely something to watch as this season goes on. But let me continue introducing you to Jalen Waddle, 4-star prospect out of high school, went to Alabama and made an impact as a freshman. As a freshman, he was able to compile 45 receptions, 848 yards, and 7 touchdowns. As a true freshman on the Alabama football team, okay? This is with older teammates named Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, and Devonta Smith on the team. All those players are going to be first-round draft picks. So with 3 older first-round draft picks on the team, he was still able to be an impact player for Alabama's football team. That is huge. Anybody who can walk into a program like that and immediately make an impact is someone I want on my team. Now, going forward, let's talk about what he brings to the table, why he is this Tyreek Hill-esque player. No, you have to start out with his incredible speed. He is a field stretcher, but much more than a speedster. He can obviously get behind the defense and make things happen, but that speed that he brings to the table is similar to Henry Ruggs, to a Tyreek Hill. It's that high 4.2 40, low 4.3 40. It is that game-changing speed that teams salivate over. And we don't see it this year because there's no NFL combine, just pro days, and can't really ever truly trust pro day numbers. But Jalen Waddle would have destroyed the combine if fully healthy. So, it's a little unfortunate we don't get to see that. But we see his speed on tape, and I just want to show you this one here. He gets behind the defense. It shows off his route running. He's not just a speedster who runs go routes. He runs a lot of different routes, double moves. He runs slants. He runs curls. A very talented wide receiver who's more than just a deep threat route where he gets behind the defense. He's only really limited by the back's arms.
About using your timeouts. They were anticipating the run, so a great call to throw the deep ball to Jalen Waddle. Wow. He's a little out and up by Waddle. Good play fake to Najee Harris. You see the defensive back bite on the fake.
For a team that's going to run off play action and push the ball down the field, Jalen Waddle could be a huge playmaker for them. Even if it's only 3 or 4 catches a game, he has that ability to be the deep threat. But there's plenty of players who have that ability to be the deep threat. What makes Jalen Waddle so special? Jalen Waddle isn't just that deep threat. He's a player that you get the ball because he's going to make something happen. He's a playmaker no matter where he gets the ball. He's lined up on the slot, in the outside, up tight. He's lined up out of the backfield before and been a playmaker. So, getting the ball, and once he has open space or just defenders in front of him, he always makes something happen. He's someone that the team can scheme around, an offense can use in any situation, and defenses have to be aware of and make sure to put him in the spotlight. Here's an instance where they use him on a screen, and even though it's only like a 10-yard gain, just look at his ability to be elusive and get yards.
Jalen Waddle, so dangerous in the open field.
Like a
Dives down.
It's like a video game. You know, I mean, seriously, you get him out in space, and he has the ability to change direction so quickly. I mean, it's just hard to break down on that guy. You got to get a lot of people.
It's impressive. This is a guy any team can use. He's landing spot proof. Yes, an offensive coordinator who's more creative can obviously use him in a lot more ways, but he's talented enough that it doesn't matter where he lands. He is a good wide receiver and a good playmaker. He'll be used. The future of the NFL is a lot of these players who can be used in many different ways. Gone are the days where you have one player fit into one role. The future of the NFL is players who are versatile and can be used all over the field. That's what we're seeing with these wide receivers coming out of college now. It's Rondale Moore, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle are just a few of the names that teams are going to be salivating to have because they're weapons on the offense. Not just wide receivers, not just an X receiver, not just a Y receiver or a slot receiver. These guys are weapons. And Jalen Waddle is really the epitome of that. And not only just on offense, but also on special teams. Watch his kickoff return. I mean, he has a couple kickoff returns and punt returns in college football that he took back for touchdowns. And he was always someone that teams were scared to kick to. This is why.
Jalen Waddle from about the 2. Tried this last time, ended up with a penalty. This time, into the open field. Jalen Waddle, nobody's going to catch him. He'll take it. Coast to coast, touchdown, Alabama.
What team doesn't want that? And with all Jalen Waddle has, there's only a few weaknesses. Number one, there's his size. 5'10", 180 pounds. It's just about the same size as Tyreek Hill. Just going to keep throwing that name out there for better or worse. But while it's not elite like X receiver alpha size like a DeAndre Hopkins or Devontae Adams, we've seen the Chiefs use Tyreek Hill. That he can still be a top target in a main outlet, still use a lot of targets every game, still have volume, even though he's not that huge physical receiver that other guys in the past have been. I think that really sets the scene for a team to use Jalen Waddle in the same way. You know, down the field, on crossing routes, on screens. Jalen Waddle can do all of that, and I'm not worried about his size to the next level at all. And one more thing I have to put with all these style players. Anyone who is a quote-unquote deep threat, even though Jalen Waddle is more, you have to be aware that sometimes NFL teams will use them in a way that is better for the NFL team than your fantasy football team. Sometimes Jalen Waddle might go a game with only 2 targets. And I hope a team uses him more than that. But there might be times that he gets put into that deep threat role and the stats don't show up. But he's opening up space for other players in the team. He's creating a threat that the defense has to be aware of every single play. So just something to be aware of. Depending on the offense, he might get fit into a role that is a bit better for the NFL team, but not as good for your fantasy team. So landing spot will be one to watch there. But I think overall he's talented enough. Landing spots shouldn't really matter at the end of the day. So going forward, as I said, heel injury, teams are going to be interested in what that's like, what his rehab process looks like. If he's not 100% healthy by the Alabama Pro Day, I wouldn't expect him to run. There's no reason for him to give teams bad numbers to look at. He can let his tape show the athleticism. If he is healthy, he's going to run, though, because he'll run out the roof, especially at a pro day being the only thing that teams can look at. So if he runs or not, that's going to really show us how healthy he believes he is. And he's a first-round receiver. There's really no doubt about it. If he hadn't been injured, he would have been a lock for the first half of the first round. But with the injury, there might be some teams that push him down into second-round talent. But any team that gets him in the second round is getting the steal of the draft because this guy should be going the mid-first round. I would expect him to go somewhere around the late teens, early 20s, similar to where we saw a lot of wide receivers go last year, that CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Jalen Reagor kind of spot. And if he ends up there, his contract will look probably similar to about $14 million overall for about $2.5 million cap hit in his rookie deal, just so you know what to expect. And let's talk some landing spots, because landing spots are really the best part about these prospect previews. It's always fun to think about what to do in a certain landing spot. And 2 landing spots that really come to mind for me. The first one is the New York Giants. He is the most popular pick to the New York Giants so far in NFL mock drafts. What does that mean? Daniel Jones, you give him wide receiver if you're going to give him one more year to prove himself as a franchise quarterback. If the Giants are good for Daniel Jones one more year, they give him a wide receiver and say, you got a first-round wide receiver to go with the rest of this talent on this team. Make something happen or your job is up, and we're drafting someone next year. Darius Slayton had a great freshman year, didn't look great this past year. His third year is going to be essential to him, showing up. If he shows up, he would actually be a great supplemental, complementary piece to Jalen Waddle. They could work very well as a 1-2 punch. Sterling Shepard's great, but can't stay on the field. And Golden Tate has a high cap hit and has been in and out of the doghouse for the Giants this entire past season. Waddle would be a great down-the-field threat, but also someone who they can, really use as an outlet for that offense. Darius Slayton has not been consistent. Sterling Shepard has not been consistent. Golden Tate has not been consistent. Evan Engram hasn't been consistent. No one on that team has been consistent. Jalen Waddle can be a consistent piece for that offense to give the ball to on slants, get the offense moving when they are struggling. I like Jalen Waddle with the Giants a lot. I think that Jason Garrett can use him pretty well. Another landing spot that has really materialized here recently is the Detroit Lions. Now that Matthew Stafford's gone and Jared Goff is there, while Jalen Waddle would have been great with Matthew Stafford, I think with the Jared Goff contract being taken on by the Detroit Lions, Kenny Galladay is on his way out most likely, which means they're going to be looking at wide receiver at least once, if not twice, in this upcoming draft. That would mean Jalen Waddle could come in, be the number 1 wide receiver on that team right away, and I think he actually fits well with Jared Goff. While Jared Goff doesn't necessarily throw the deep ball often, Jalen Waddle is an incredible yards after the catch player and could be incredible for Jared Goff in getting the ball out of his hands quick into Jalen Waddle's hands and making something happen. Obviously, you need some more offensive pieces around that, but there's some promise there, and I would be excited to see the Detroit Lions be a spot for Jalen Waddle to end up. I think that could end up being something special. So with that, that is my prospect preview on Jalen Waddle. Make sure you check out the article on dynastyowner.com. And of course, follow me at Nate NFL, Dynasty_owner. We have sort of come this offseason. It's going to be a really exciting one. We've already seen big trades happen. Every single thing that happens in trades, free agency in the NFL affects the NFL draft and what we're looking at for landing spots. So stay with us. It's going to be awesome. Take care, guys.